Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the Green Stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. And today is May 15th. Again, I'm just filming a quick piece before I start work and introducing my start number 3 in Maynia 2024. If you're a new viewer, thank you for choosing to watch this video. Hope you enjoy it and you stay and subscribe. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me again. Thank you for your support and I hope you'll enjoy this. So today, what I'm trying to do with my Maynia starts is, I have done, like I said, I have done this before on my other channel, and this year I'm doing it in May, and I'm doing 5 designs, starting each one on a Wednesday in May, giving each a week to stitch on, not stitching anything else but my May start. I am stitching on various design styles and with various materials. I am making a video about each individual start and posting them on Thursdays at 4 p.m. British summertime, as I'm based in UK. And the last start, let me just double check my calendar, because I'm stealing a few days off June to finish Maynia off. So 29th of May will be my last start. However, I will be spending a week on it. So finishing on it on Tuesday, June 4th, wrapping up my like editing and all the things on Wednesday and posting the video on Thursday, June 6th. And I have thought about it and I have decided to make a little Maynia overview video as well. I know these videos are not for everyone. They end up being quite lengthy, even though I try to make them under 30 minutes. And so if that's not something you would like to watch as in individual videos about individual starts, on June 14th I will be posting a video about my Maynia overview, again showing all of the designs I've started, all of my progress, talking you through all of the fabric choices, threads, any changes I've made, any first impressions, any plans I have for these designs. And because I'm not having a regular May update video, I will probably include a bit of haul and shout outs into that video as well. So today I am starting a design that is again near and dear to my heart, as all of these are. I'm trying to alternate sort of styles and fabric and materials a little bit. So my first start was Siri by Make It Pink on a 32 count witch-shot with DMC and Krynic. My second start with a Nora Corbett winter hair using DMC, Krynic, Silk and Whisper and beads on 32 count Picture This Blast Belfast. So I thought I have another one. Start number 4 is going to be on the same fabric as number 2 but in a different color. And then my last start is going to be a 32 count witch-shot as well as the first. So I'm trying again, like I said, to sort of give myself a bit of variety in threads and things. Today's start is going to be a shepherd's bush, and I am starting my second stocking, and this is going to be this is called Brett's stocking, but I'm stitching it for my husband. And it's going to be a companion piece to the one I have stitched for myself, and I just pulled it out of my stack of finishes to show you if you haven't seen it before. So this is Jeffrey's stocking, but in my house it's Maria's stocking, and I am not stitching them as they're meant to be, and I'll talk you through it in a second. So if you haven't seen these on my channel before, like I said, I don't stitch them as they're meant to be. I'll explain in a second, but first about the design. So Shepherd's Bush have a really large collection of amazing Christmas stockings. I love almost all of them. However, I don't have that many people in my life that I know this well and would like a stocking to stitch them. So I've decided for now just to stitch 2, one for me, one for my husband, because there's just 2 of us and 2 of our cats. And I will be, I've gone through the ones they offer. I've sort of narrowed it down to like a 3 or 4 pattern selection, and then gave them to my husband to choose from, and he chose this one. So he grew up in Lithuania near sea, so I thought, you know, the whole sea theme with the ship would make a lot of sense. And then I am obsessed with the theme of three kings, and so this looks like one of the three kings to me, and I think he is, because one piece of the pattern here says "we three," which I imagine is again a reference to the three kings. He has an absolutely gorgeous a cloak with flowers and leaves in a wonderful sort of dark wine color. There's always sheep because it's a shepherd's bush design, and a lot of embellishment elements that I have purchased as well. This one I got from 123. So if you haven't seen these before and you like them and you would like to stitch one, I do recommend going on 123 Stitch and buying both the pattern and the embellishment pack. I have seen them in other places much more expensive than what they are at on 123. As far as I know, none of the shepherd's bush designs are out of print. They might be harder to find and buy, or if you're ordering them through a different shop from Shepherd's Bush, they might take a while to come through. So yeah, this one lives in this bag that I made for myself with the poinsettias, with the background and some glittery fabric, and coordinating wine red with some mottling. And so the way I do these differently is, so these designs, and as far as I know, all of the stockings sort of have the same legend. They are meant to be stitched on, what is it saying here? 18 or 20 count, so look, 18 count natural linen, and then they're stitched 1/2 with pearl cotton number 5, and they are DMC's, Weeks Day Works, and Classic Color Works. And you have a you get quite a large stocking this way, and the I think they're actually cheaper. The pearl, one skein of this 5 size pearl is cheaper than, you know, your normal 25 size or whatever it's called thread, and so I don't have a large stash of like specialty threads, and what I've decided to do, and I did it on the first stocking as well, I'll show you again, is instead of using 5 size pearl and stitching on 18 count, I am stitching on 28 count natural casual linen, 2/2, with the same colors called for in the pattern, but in size, I think it's 25 weight, yeah, you know, the normal regular size embroidery threads. This one I had to swap a couple of lighter colors because they were conflicting with my fabric and I couldn't see them. And in this one I haven't started yet, so I'm not sure, but I might have to. I'm just looking now if the sheep might be too light, and maybe the beard on the main character might be too light, but I'll see when I get to it, and I'll talk you through it as well while I'm making my weekly updates. So like I said, it uses a variety of Classic Color Works and Weeks Day Works. And the other design, and I think this one the same, I have digitized them and I'm using Cross Stitch Saga app to stitch them. And before I started and even kitted them up, I went to the what's it called? Basically the chart information page on the pattern for the on the pattern on the app, and it tells you the amount of meters or yards or whichever you decide it's going to use of each color. So the last design I stitched used only one skein of each color, and I think so does this one. So we have I think I have a couple more that are in my stash actually that I used in this in the previous stocking, or maybe in a different design. So I've got 3 Weeks That Works that I had to purchase. There might be more, like I said, and I think there is 5 Classic Color Works, beautiful vibrant colors, really lovely. This one is all purples and beiges and blues, and I'm really excited. I really like this blacksmith blue, like a grayish blue. So it does use a few DMC threads as well. I think actually more DMC colors as the previous stocking. And like I said, I have got the embellishment pack of 1 to 3 stitch as well. This one has I'll show you in one of the other little videos this week. It has an elephant charm and the fish and the pears always, and lovely buttons. So what I'm planning to do when I'm done with this is sew on any beads if there are any. I think there are some red ones, and then once I have finished them both, I will back them with iron-on interfacing and then sew on the charms and buttons, and then sew stockings out of them. So that is the plan. This one has around 5,500 stitches ish, I think, as well as the first stocking, and so I'm not even hoping to finish it this week, but I'm hoping to make some nice progress and maybe get to half of the design stitched. I have got my fabric washed and ironed and stretched on the scroll frame, all ready to go. My needle minder is an enamel pin with a sheep that I always use for shepherd's bush designs, and I'm doing a center bottom start because my favorite way to stitch is bottom up. So yeah, this should be exciting. I'm really glad I'm doing, like I said, alternating threads, because this one uses a lot of variegated cottons. I'll be, stitching slightly differently than I do with regular DMCs, and it's nice to switch things around. What have I got planned this week to just guesstimate how much progress I'll be able to make? We'll see. The weekend is always depends on the weather and things and the house renovations. But like I said, I'm hoping to get around 2,000 at least on it done. I would really be glad if I could finish this one in July and then start, planning the sewing of these and FFOing them. I had already bought like an edge thing, not sure what it's called, like a cord to go around both stockings, so I'm really excited. And yeah, I'll be making my start today after I finish work, and I'll probably talk to you later either on Friday night or on Saturday, and show you what I've done in my first couple of days and talk you through my first impressions. Good morning. Today is Sunday, May 19th, and I wanted to show you what I've been up to in the last couple of days. Life is lifing, so I'll explain. I have been working on the shepherd's bush stocking that I started on Wednesday. As you can see, I'm taking the flosses off the cards, cutting them up and all once I get to that color. And I have only made little progress, to be honest with you, like I said, because life was lifing. So Wednesday was a really busy day at work where I was so tired that I didn't want to stitch much after work, and so I only made a tiny progress and probably did the border, the fish, and a couple of the flowers. Then on Thursday, and here he is, Valera. On Thursday, he had what I thought was an emergency, and so I took him to the emergency vet, spent the whole night, the whole evening, I mean, at the emergency vets, and by the time I got home, I pretty much just had to go straight to bed and get ready for work on Friday. And then Friday night, I made much more progress. I was really stressed after Thursday, and this was definitely needed, you know, as sort of soothing stitching. So Friday night and Saturday, I've stitched, you know, the rest of it. I've really loved working with this blue color, doing the waves, started some of the ship as well. Here is Moira as well. Moira, no, not on the cross stitch. Naughty girl. Yeah, so I've worked on the ship as well, done both the hills. This is the end of the design on the right, and then there's going to be a few sheep, and these little clusters of green. I imagine to show, you know, flowers or something. I absolutely loved working on it. It's so enjoyable. 28 count, 2/2. With these lovely colors with variegation, and then some of the greens. So the greens in the leaves, in the back stitch, and in the trees, and both the hills. Those are just regular DMC, and one of my favorite greens. So they're like 3011, 3012, and 3013. Really nice olive green colors. So that's what I've been up to. I think I've managed to hit almost 1,000 stitches since I started. I'm hoping to do some more, but you might suspect if it's off the stitching stand and just laying flat on my desk and has no side stretches and no needles, that means something went off the rails and not according to plan. And it did. So if you have watched one of my videos about my whips or my stash, you probably know, unless it hasn't come out yet. I have filmed some videos in advance that will come out in June and July. Basically, this is my Mirabilia bag. I only have 3 Mirabilia patterns in my stash at the moment. One of them I have stitched that was Blossom, and 2 more I have in stash that I'm planning to do at some point. And so absolutely unplanned. And so completely unexpectedly and unplanned, I have added another start to my Maynia. So the beautiful Miss Dancing Flower is the one that I started. She has been in my stash for a while now. Like I said to you in my whip parade, I envisage them as being sort of a trio of ladies in kimonos. That's what they look to me, at least, like. And coincidentally, they all have very similar color palette. So greens, purples, and these gentle sort of apricot-y, peachy oranges. And when I was pulling threads for this one, I've noticed, like I said, a lot of common colors with the first one. So I have been thinking about her for a few days now. It's only been a month since I finished my first Mirabilia, and I just could not stop thinking about her. She was calling to me from stash. She was asking me to give her a start. I think at some point when I bought the chart, I had already kitted it up because I had everything I needed to start. I had the 1 Karen water lilies that is called for. I had all colors of beads. The only thing that I'm swapping in terms of materials, not the fabric, is the what are these called? Basically the treasures. So I didn't have the ones, I had some treasures in stash from a D-stash I have purchased a couple years ago. I've got a few different options, and I went with the closest ones that would match the most. So there's supposed to be these like orange ones in her like shoulder piece of the dress. So I'm swapping them for these iridescent greenish purplish, and then there's supposed to be 3 blue ones here at the bottom of the of this beautiful piece, and I'm swapping them for literally it's like the next number in the palette of the treasures, and I'm using these blue ones. I also had the most perfect fabric for her in my stash, and here she is. So I started her yesterday, on Saturday. It was really like a spur of a moment. I worked a bit on the stocking for my husband, maybe did like 150-ish stitches. And then I looked at my husband. I was like, Dove, I have been thinking about her. I cannot wait anymore. I have to start her. So I've put everything together. So the fabric is 32 count Belfast linen by Picture This Plus in color Da Vinci, Crystal Da Vinci, sorry. Because if you can see, I hope you can, it has got the iridescent sparkly thread woven into the fabric. And the colors are just absolutely perfect for this design. I think it's all purples and oranges and these mauvey reds, and I think there's a bit of blues and greens sort of somewhere in little spots as well. And I had a giant piece of it from a haul a couple months ago, and I think I had a fat half. So I've sort of cut it in half, but not equal half. So like probably 40-60% wise. So half of it has gone here, and the other half is going to be for Princess Eliana, which is my third Mirabilia in stash. I don't think I have kitted her up. I need to have a look, but I'm not going to have two going at the same time, I've decided anyway, so that's going to be fine. So the fabric is absolutely gorgeous. I had one last empty and unused scroll frame that is the perfect size. Had all the beads, like I said. It's a lot of DMC colors, but again, I have all of those in stash. Had the only one Karen Water Lilies, and then pulled my favorite needle minder for Mirabilias. I feel like color-wise and feeling-wise, it matches very, very well. And then here's my little start from last night. So I've managed to do only about 450 stitches while we were watching TV and all, but it was such a joy to stitch her. So I started at the bottom in the middle, which is my favorite spot to start if it's not a sort of full coverage or it doesn't have, you know, proper like square-ish borders at the bottom. Otherwise I would have started left bottom corner. It's beautiful. I love the fabric. So I've told you I've started a Nora a couple of weeks ago on the same, so Belfast by Picture This Plus, but in color Dawn. And I've really enjoyed working on it, and I was really glad that I had more of the same fabric in stash, but in different colors. And I have never stitched on a linen or even weave with you know, the sparkly thread in it, and it wasn't an issue at all. It's beautiful. It's really delicate. It sort of looks like amethyst stones to me, this fabric. I haven't got any more. Where have I put mine? I've put it away. I haven't got any more of my favorite thread and needle organizers. So I've ordered one off Amazon and it's coming today, and it's purple to match the theme, and it only uses 42 colors of all the things. So that includes all the colors of beads and the Karen and all the things. So I don't need probably even all of the slots on it, but I literally ran out. I had no organizers left. One of the last big ones I'm sharing between like 3 different projects because I'm making so many starts recently. So she's going to be absolutely beautiful. I think I'm going to bead as I go as well. So I've had a look, and let me pull her back so you can see her. My start is only a tiny one. So she's got a lot of beads, and I've calculated, literally gone into the pattern and into Cross Stitch Saga, and I think I've got about 1400 beads altogether. So I thought it would make more sense to just bead as I go. Oh, and the only other change I'm making, I am not stitching these. So I do not like these. I know mirrors, a lot of mirrors have them, and she is a dancing flower, so I guess they are, you know, part of the flower. The pattern calls them crown. I just don't like them. I feel like they look like horns and not in a good way. And Valera, stop it. He's trying to steal my needles. And yeah, I've decided not to stitch them, so I've taken them out of the pattern before importing it into Crafter Saga. And there were a few beads in there as well, as you can see, so I've taken those out as well. I'm only gonna keep these purple ones, and the cream ones are gonna go. Valera, stop it! What are you doing? He's digging in my sewing box and trying to pick something out of there. Okay, so yeah, that's my progress for the last few days. Really happy I started her. No idea what I'm going to do with her or the starts or the rest of Maynia. I want to work on her more. I don't want to just put her aside straight away. She is too beautiful and the fabric is too nice to work on to put them aside. I think I might pull out the stocking for a bit, do like a couple hundred stitches, so at least I hit 1,000 that I normally try to when I start a new design, and then probably spend the rest of the time until the next start working on her. And then when I start the new design on Wednesday, I'll see how I feel and might still run them sort of in parallel and do both at the same time. So I'm sort of joining miramay with her unexpectedly, and I am also counting her as, I think it's 3.5, start number 3.5, before my next one on Wednesday. I'm really happy I did it. Sometimes you need a spontaneous stash start. It's for me, it's a special joy not to just buy something and start it straight away, which that's a special joy of its own, just different. But this, I mean, when you have something in stash, when the pattern has been calling for you, when you have all the materials and you just blitz through, you know, the prep and just get down to stitching in, you know, like the next couple hours since you've decided you're starting it, that's very enjoyable, and yeah, like I said, a special kind of joy. So I've made this lovely bag for her and all of my other mirrors, but the others are out now while she is being stitched. The only thing is, I think the design is a print, so when I was sewing it, it was pulling on the thread and revealing sort of the lighter base of the fabric, which is a shame because it's a lovely, lovely fabric. But yeah, beautiful. So yeah, here's my start. I will be reporting then on both until next Wednesday, and how much I've stitched and what my first impressions are and all the things. I might actually start using the silk already. Let me show you 1 second. So she has these little sort of petal pieces of flowers that's fallen off the garland, and they go all the way on the bottom, and they use the variegated silk. Beautiful color called Tequila Sunrise, I think. Goes through yellows and oranges and peaches and pink. Gorgeous. And again, I was really curious, so I have recalculated it. This is true 32 count. Again, if anyone knows how Picture This Plus sort of market their fabrics, so does the count they give it when they're selling it reliant on the count they get once they've dyed it, or is it the original fabric they used? Because I've tested two now. I have another piece, so my next start is going to be on a Picture This Plus 32 count Belfast as well, in a dark color, and I'm confused because I've heard people saying that it shrinks a lot and it's not the true count that it says it is, but here I have two pieces that are exactly what they say they are, so this is 32 count. So if you know anything about that, I would be really curious to read your comments below. For now, I'm signing off. Today is a wonderful day, very good weather here in Nottingham. Hopefully we'll spend some time in the garden, maybe go for a walk, and hopefully I'll get some time to stitch today, and I'll talk to you guys a bit later. So I haven't made any progress, but I'm burrowing down on the sofa, as I call it, for the afternoon to stitch on Mirabilia. I've done all of my house chores and all the things, and made some nice progress on the stocking by Shepherd's Bush, which I'll show you another day. And I wanted to show you the fabric, so I'm hoping you can't see. You can. My knee is through the fabric. So I think this is quite a good representation of the colors. And what I've done now is, before coming down here, I've loaded my new organizer. It got delivered this morning, and I've got all the colors. I've done 1 or 2 lengths of each color, depending on where I picked them from, my master set or my cardboard cards that have some leftovers from others. But look at this color palette. Look how gorgeous she's going to be. All of these fresh spring greens and all of the purples and this olive green 581 and then 730 next to it. Just my favorites. She's going to be beautiful, and that's how I pack to go stitch downstairs. So I take the project bag, I add the scissors in the thingy. If I have any colors on these that I need a lot of, I'll add extra in here. I've got my silk, I've got extra needles. These are my absolute favorites. I 26 size on any count, except for when I'm stitching dimensions and it needs a lot of strands. This is my little needle book where I keep my beading needles from Mill Hill. The treasures are in there, as you can see. And I've got my little ort catcher bin thing here. I have to empty it. I have my beading organizer. I haven't started beading this one yet. This is the beads from the winter hair. And then I've put all of the beads that are needed for this design into this little box I had. And here they are. I know I've shown it on the photos on Instagram, but I don't know if I've shown it on videos yet. They're gorgeous. They're such beautiful colors. A lot of these like rustic browns and yellows and purples as well, and the beautiful white, the 479, like this, the pearly white and turquoise. And this color is just one of my favorites, like aqua. It's completely clear and it's got this iridescent hue to it. I love it. It's so this type in different colors is my favorite kind of beads. They are all my favorite. What am I talking about? The purple. Oh, let me show you the one at the bottom there, because it's absolutely just fantastic. Look at this. It's like the scarab beetle, right? All shades of blue and green and gold. Gorgeous color. Cannot wait to use all of these. I'm keeping them in the box because Valera, my boy cat, finds the cork stoppers absolutely delicious and tries to eat them. So here we go. I am going to watch some Netflix or Flosstube or both. And then my husband is currently gaming upstairs and he's coming downstairs to watch something with me later. We'll have dinner, we'll watch something. And yeah, we try to keep Sunday afternoons chore and housework free, so we can just enjoy each other's company and enjoy being at home. We both love being at home, to be honest. If I didn't say this before, Valera is fine. Whatever I took him in for on Thursday night turned out to be nothing. And thanks God he's okay. And there's a few other things that we might need to check out, but we'll do that in due time. So all good. So that's all the progress I showed you before. I feel like in this lighting my crosses look very, very crooked. But yeah, this is one of the pieces where the beads will go. And like I told you, this pattern of the flowers and even the colors in them look so much like the flowers in the blossom design that I stitched earlier this year. So here's my starting point for the night. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, May 21st, and I wanted to share my progress on my mirror. I have shown you the beads already, but I'll show you again in the morning daylight. It's quite a gloomy day, so as you can see, I've got top light on, again, filming a bit before work. So I wanted to show you the bead colors again and how gorgeous they are. And since I showed them to you last time, I got so inspired and so excited to stitch with them that I have started beading her as I go. And it just so happens that a few sort of bottom elements here, the the little petals, like I said, that are falling off her garland, have beads. So it's a combination of regular size and petite. I have some fluff on there, don't I? Yep. So I think it's size 11 and 15, I want to say. I always keep on forgetting the sizes of Mill Hill. And I am sewing them both on with half crosses, as that's what the pattern says, I believe. And I'm using an orange thread 742. I think it matches both. And because they're generally close together, it's easier for me to then bead them at once. I'm using one of the Mill Hill beading needles that I got from one of the kids that I've stitched before. So I've made some progress on Sunday night and yesterday. And I've got this lovely ribbon, light purple one going, and then I've started one of the most interesting parts of her dress. So, or in my universe, it's a kimono. Let me show you the pattern again. I forgot that I need to do that. So I thought I was going to get really bored stitching these elements. I quite prefer more, like flowy and floral motifs rather than geometric ones. But I started a little bit at the bottom here, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing like the whole section here. I have started putting some of my beads in my organizer, as you can see. And like I said, these are from the Winter Hair by Nora. And these three are from this lovely lady. And I don't mark them anyhow. I've only got like maybe 8 colors of beads at the moment in this project. So I keep them on hand, and I can easily tell which ones are which and which ones are from which project, because I don't have that many, to be honest with you. So that's great. And like I said, I am loving stitching on this fabric. It's gorgeous the way it glistens, and it's really pleasant to work with. I love 32 count linen, and I have managed excuse me, I've managed to make just a little bit of progress. I think about maybe 500 stitches over the last couple of days. I have gotten over 1,000 stitches, and now I'm on 5 with a bit %. So that's quite good. Before I came just now up into the hobby room to stitch and just have a bit of time to myself before I start working, I've decided I was going to put her away and just work on the stocking today, and I'll show you progress on that tomorrow, because I did work on it as well. But just looking at her now, I think that's not going to be the case. So I have some time before work today, like I said, and some time after, and on my lunch break. So I'm hoping with big chunks of colors and sort of repetitive patterns, especially in this part, I'll be able to make some progress and maybe stitch some on her before work, and then stitch some on the stocking after, and then we'll see what I've got going tomorrow morning. So today is going to be my last day on the stocking by Shepherd's Bush. I don't think it's going to be my last day in May. I don't think it's going to be my last day in May on Miss Dancing Flower. I think I might run her again in parallel with the next start that I'm doing tomorrow. And I'm really excited to start tomorrow's one as well. It's not as big. It's not, it doesn't have any specialty threads or stitches or anything. It's just full cross with DMC, but it's going to be lovely. So wish me luck, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hi you guys, we meet again on an early Wednesday morning. Just a few minutes before I have to get to work, and I'm just filming the rest of the video for the third and what I call the 3.5 start for Maynia 2024. And then I'll quickly film the intro for the 4th one. Today's May 22nd, like I said, a Wednesday, and as you've seen, my 3rd week in May turned into having 2 starts instead of 1. So I was originally meant to just stitch on the breadth stocking by Shepherd's Bush. I've already made one for myself, and then this one I'm making for my husband. And I love the colors. I've loved working on it, and I'll say it again, if anyone likes the way it looks and might want to duplicate sort of the way I'm doing it. So this is 28 count casual linen in natural, and I'm stitching with everything called for, except these are not purl threads, they are embroidery threads, so your normal size Wickstead Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC 2/2. If it's DMC, I normally stitch horizontal lines. If it's hand dyed, I close every cross before moving on to the next one. So I've made quite a nice progress. I'm quite happy with it, but like I said, because I got interrupted by my sudden start, I think I've only managed to do, let me have a look at my spreadsheet. I think it's about 1400 stitches, so that's still quite nice. And yeah, if I hadn't started Mirabilia, which I'll show you in a second, I would have probably stitched like almost half of the design. It's not that big, no matter that it might look that way. And the only bits I'll show you I've changed is, obviously I'll change the name, so I've got that charted already. I just need to check which color it's in, because I feel like it might be in purple. And then you might be able to see there's a back stitch here saying We Three, because the design is a sort of one of the Three Kings characters, and I've gotten rid of that. So that's probably the only thing I've done. I have started stitching with the ecru that is called for in the flag. I will do the sheep later, but I think I won't substitute it. It looks fine on my fabric. Just it's quite light, and natural casual can wash it out sometimes and sort of blend in. Like I said, it lived in this bag, and the way I do it, besides having my favorite, thread and needle organizers, I just keep all the threads here for now. So the ones I've already worked on, I have, say if it's weeks, I have unwound the whole skein and then cut it into these lengths, so it's easier to work with. And I've also got the embellishment pack, as I've shown you before, but I'm not doing that until it's completely finished, beaded, ironed. Then I'm going to attach the interfacing on the back to both. Then I'm going to sew on embellishments, and then I'm gonna sew stockings after those two. So this was a wonderful start. Every time I stitch on a shepherd's bush, I am in love. I am reminded of how much I love the way they chart their patterns, the way the colors are combined. I've noticed the same about Stony Creek designs. I love the way they work with color and specific shades they choose to put in their designs. So really, really exciting stuff. And then, as you've seen, I have gone rogue a little and started another design, and that is Miss Dancing Flower MD 170 by Mirabilia, designed by Nora Corbett. She was in my stash. I was going to stitch her at some point. I thought maybe I'll start her in autumn at some point, because I just finished my first Mira in April, and that one was I would call it a medium size, because I would say Nora's a small-ish, then some of Mira's out, so that one was 20,000-ish, and this one is the same. And then there's obviously like the grand ladies with, castles and, other sort of decorations besides themselves and the dresses and things. So she's a similar size to Blossom, who I finished last month. And this one actually has treasures and one color of Karen water lilies. So I have swapped the cold for fabric, which was supposed to be Witch Old Water Lily, which I love, and I am stitching 12 Days of Christmas by Stony Creek on it, to a piece of, I'm hoping you can see, yeah, to a piece of 32 count Belfast linen by Picture This Plus in color Crystal Da Vinci. So it has the iridescent thread in it. It's got these purple, blue, greenish, orange splotches, and I feel like it perfectly matches the colors or the color scheme of the design. So I've started from the bottom. I've made quite good progress as well, and I started beading straight away as I go. I really love to make a difference this way in the design. It inspires me immensely when I see the parts completely finished and beaded, and it makes me, like, fuels me to go further and make more progress on her. I've only just started stitching this section with the beautiful pattern I showed you yesterday, but haven't had a chance to finish. Didn't have too much time yesterday. I love stitching on this fabric. I have made another start on it in a different color, and then today's start, so start number 4 that you'll see next week, I am making on the same fabric in a different color as well. She lives in my, I've made it in my Mirabilia bag, because most of mine are purple and pink and green and orange, and I had this fabric in stash and I love it, and I wanted a bag out of it. And then this is my only Karen, so the same way I've done with weeks in the other one, I have unwound the skein completely and cut it into like nice size lengths, and I only need 200 stitches done in it, and it's like, you know, the petals that go from the bottom of the design to the side where she is holding a garland, those use this color, and I've made sure that the strand I pulled from here was like variegated all the way, like from the darkest pink through the peach to the yellow, and it's a beautiful color. If anyone's curious, it's 276 Tequila Sunrise. Gorgeous color. And like I showed you before, I've swapped the treasures. I had some in stash, and I'm swapping to the ones in stash that are very similar in color anyways. And I've stitched about 1200 on her, I think, since I started on Saturday. So again, quite nice progress. And as I've said to you before, what I'm planning to do for the rest of the month, I think this is today's plan, and then it might change as you have seen. I'm going to start my new start today, probably after work. I'm almost I need to get started with work soon, so I don't have time to start in the morning. And then I will see how much time I have in the next few days. We have another bank holiday on Monday this week, 27th, which means I get more stitchy time this week. And so I'm hoping to parallel the new start and mirror and hopefully make around the same progress. So I'd say like 12 to 1500 stitches both in the new start and Mirabilia. I really didn't want to put her down yesterday. I just really enjoyed stitching on her, and it's just so interesting. You do one sort of palette and do like one of the ribbons, and you go into one of the other patterns and it's a different color palette, but with like a few colors you can build a whole section, you know? So really enjoyable, really love it, and like I said, lovely to work on that fabric. I think that's all I wanted to tell you. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, so I'll see about my plans for June and July. I've been having some thoughts on like doing like themed months with like themed designs. I'll be very honest with you, and I did say this last time. I said I was losing steam, and it's true, but that's probably because I'm going sort of all in on these new starts and spending any time that I have free from, you know, other commitments, spending time with my family and friends on just stitching. And I have I've spent some time gaming over the weekend, which was good as well, to sort of have a bit of a break and a bit of a different activity. Started reading again, which is good as well. I've changed the design as well and had, you know, 2 designs to go at the same time. Different fabrics, different counts, different materials, very different styles as well, that helped with, you know, with that. And I think it's going to be good this week as well, doing the same thing. So I might not make so much progress as I did in the first 2 weeks. Like I said, the first week was about 3,700 stitches. Second one was about 3,000. This week, if you combine both, I think I've done 2,600 stitches. Yeah, I think I might not stitch as much, but I'll definitely enjoy working on my projects. And I think the reason I'm struggling a little bit with all the starts, because I'm thinking I need to finish things that I already have in my stash. I've recently watched a video by the Cross Stitch the Globe about the process on Project Stitcher, and I think I'm probably a project or product stitcher, and which means that I really need finishes to like keep me going. I really need to limit my number of whips, otherwise I feel guilty for having this many and not working on all of them. And I think that's why I'm struggling with sort of the idea of Maynia and starting a few things. I'm just thinking it over to see how and if I want to do something similar next year. So yeah, we'll see. I'm curious to see how I handle the rest of the month. It's definitely been better this week, like I said, with working on 2 different projects and doing other things besides stitching. So more of the same. And I'm gonna go film the little intro for my 4th start, and I'll see you guys really, really soon. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week. Bye.